All right, George, thank you for that. The Bakersfield Police Department sent officers to assist in that lockdown situation yesterday. That's 2 straight days this week. Joining us in Studio B this morning to talk about that and other related topics during his monthly visit, Chief Greg Terry. Chief, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
You bet. Good morning.
2 days in a row, CSUB, then BC. Let's begin with manpower and how many officers had to go and respond to these.
Probably nearly a dozen or a little bit over that. Had to go to each of those campuses and spend quite a few hours helping and assisting the administration there, making sure it was safe. Certainly a precautionary measure, thankfully, that there was no actual event. But these 2 false reports of an emergencies, exactly what they are legally, are extremely resource intensive and very disruptive to our operations.
Now, when you look into this situation, will you be investing in this to find out who was responsible for this and what could they face?
Yeah, we are. Cal State, their police department is investigating the threat to their campus or that was received by their campus. We're investigating the one that was received by Bakersfield College. We're going to work together very closely because some of the language that was used is very similar, but we'll be investigating both of those. It is a crime to falsely report an emergency and cause that kind of a response. If you're actually, as part of the threat, say that you're going to come commit a crime, then it's actually a felony.
Now, when you're looking into something in regards to this and you're doing this type of an investigation, how often do you find that it's a copycat incident? Where it could be one person rather than the same person?
Yeah, very often. Sometimes we see these move across the country as the news of the event travels. People get the same idea or connect somehow. But very often we'll see patterns across the country. Sometimes it's just a local issue. But yeah, there certainly is some copycat stuff involved very often.
Now, this draining manpower and whatnot, we also wanted to talk about staffing levels. We've touched on this a couple times with you as you've talked about how positions get frozen and whatnot. Where do we stand right now within the department?
We've got about 30 vacancies across the Department of Officers positions. That's police officers, that's detectives, that's a sergeant, a senior officers at various ranks, but a total of about 30 across the department. Right now, we've been in the recruiting process for the last couple of months, and we're getting near the end of that, and our next academy will begin first part of April with about 50, hopefully, in it.
We'll get doing the academy in a minute, but getting to those open positions, when it comes to investigating something like we just saw on there, if you have openings, or I should say vacancies, say in investigations or in detectives divisions, does that hurt more than a patrol officer position?
Yeah, if you're going to talk about a very narrow or talking about our capacity to investigate a crime after the emergency is over, certainly we're impacted by that. Detectives are a very important position and role within the department, and we are carrying some vacancies there. We certainly prioritize the staffing to make sure we're investigating the most serious crimes, those, crimes to a person and murder, shootings, those kinds of things, sexual assault, all of those kinds of things. But we also have staff that we're prioritizing to make sure that we're investigating auto theft and burglaries and thefts. But where the public feels the impact is some of the lower level quality of life, more nuisance type crimes that are really disruptive, that make us furious. Our capacity to investigate many of those crimes goes away as we prioritize staffing. And so right now, we are carrying some detective vacancies that doesn't allow us to investigate some of those lower level crimes.
When it comes to the academy, how big is this class, did you say?
Hopefully it'll be about 50.
50 personnel when they come in. And do they pay for that themselves, or is this something that the city finances to bring in these officers? Because we always talk about things like bonuses in order to try and get officers to come here.
Yeah. No, there is no cost to the trainees as they go into the academy. They are hired as a full-time employee, so we provide them with all of their startup equipment, their boots, the clothes, flashlights, that sort of thing. And of course, they're paid throughout the academy. So no, they are an actual employee of the police department as they go through the academy.
You have the search for your replacement.
Yeah.
We're down to 2 now, and both of them are from within the department. It was open to outside candidates. Are you surprised that it's down, that both the last 2 are both?
Absolutely not.
Your assistants?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. They're wonderful men. They've been in Bakersfield all their lives and have been with the police department for more than 20 years now. And so, no, they're very well qualified and will be in good hands.
When they talk about wanting to bring in someone outside, bring in new type of ideas and whatnot, we were talking just a moment ago, and you were saying that that's a great part of this, but you also want people that have the experience within the community.
No, I think it's very important in leadership, executive leadership in a police department, that you're always looking and you're always have an open mind and looking ways to innovate and learn from other people doing different things. And you certainly get that at times when you have an outside candidate come in who has a completely new perspective, completely ignorant of anything else that's going on historically, all of those where you can get a clean, fresh look. There's some value there. There's also a lot to be said for consistency and trust and confidence of the public and confidence of the staff. And so whichever selection is made here, we're going to be okay.
Going back to that deadly crash involving juveniles on the 178, the 14-year-old driver was just identified. Did anything else come from that investigation?
Well, we're investigating. I don't know what you mean exactly by that, but we're investigating it. We know that the vehicle was stolen from Valley Plaza and that there was this pursuit and unfortunately ended in this death. But we are investigating it as a critical incident for our organization. So that means we're investigating the crime that occurred, but we're also closely looking at the actions of the officers, were they followed, were policies followed, and that sort of thing, because it did involve a serious injury, in this case a death. And so we're doing both of those kinds of investigations, what we call a critical incident investigation, and that's still ongoing.
Yeah, and what I was getting at was I think it was a number of years ago now, that the BPD had instituted new pursuit policies to sort of back off to try to prevent, people from getting into this type of a situation.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious as to, has that policy, does it constantly get reviewed, and are there tweaks made to that when it comes to
all of our policies, particularly around uses of force and those kinds of very important things, we review them all the time. Pursuits occur quite frequently, and they're frequently canceled. And we have supervisors that are monitoring this pursuit, and you really are balancing the crime versus what is actually going on and the threat to public safety, the threat to the officers. Is that outweighed for the nature of the crime? And in this case, they had canceled the pursuit right before the crash occurred because of the speeds and those kinds of things, the danger that was to the public safety. But it is something that we monitor in real time. And it's something that occurs probably almost on a daily basis.
I wanted to end with this and kind of touch on it. We had some great video of Bakersfield police officers doing rappelling training.
Yeah.
Just recently. How often do you get to do these types of things?
Well, I don't
because
get
it's
to
not
do it.
something that guys, you're signing up to be a police officer. You need to learn how to rappel.
Well, we train often in a variety of kinds of scenarios, or looking for different scenarios to make sure that we have the capacity to respond to an emergency. In this case, it was a joint fire training, or a joint training exercise with the fire department. It involved rappelling off the bluffs, and it really was to simulate a car going off there where we had to respond and work with them and initiate some sort of a rescue. So it doesn't occur that frequently, those kinds of scenarios, but we're always working hard to make sure that we're ready to be there when the community needs us.
So you're saying that you're past the rappelling stage?
I am past the rappelling stage. That's right. That's right.
All right, very good. Chief Greg Terry joining us for his monthly visit. Appreciate the chat.
You bet. Thank you.
We'll be right back.